Did you know alligators can see you before you see them, especially in the dark waters of Florida's lakes? For one man, that horrifying reality turned into a nightmare when he took a late-night swim in Lake Monroe and paid the ultimate price, his arm. In the eerie pre-dawn hours of a Sunday morning, the tranquility of central Florida's Lake Monroe was shattered by a chilling cry of terror. The lake, shrouded in darkness, seemed almost otherworldly, a mirror reflecting the starless sky, its black surface hiding secrets that many would rather not confront. Beneath its deceptively calm exterior lurked a predator, ancient and unyielding, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. For one man, the lake's secrets became horrifyingly real, leaving him with a permanent reminder of nature's unforgiving power. The victim, identified only as a 31-year-old homeless man, had ventured into the water at a time when the world was asleep. His reasons remain unclear, a mystery tangled with speculation and unanswered questions. Was he seeking solace, a momentary escape from the harsh realities of life on the streets? Or was it a reckless act of defiance against the warnings of others? Whatever his motives, his decision led to a confrontation with one of nature's most fearsome predators. Witnesses recount a surreal and ominous sequence of events. Among them was John Lawson, a local fisherman who had been casting his line on the lake's edge that evening. He recalls spotting a figure moving in the water, barely distinguishable against the dark ripples. "I was fishing down the bank. It was getting dark, and I saw something floating, probably 500 to 600 feet away," Lawson later recounted. "Concerned," he called out to the man, asking if he was all right. The swimmer's response was dismissive. Yeah, no, I'm good," he reportedly said, his tone brushing off the fisherman's concerns. But Lawson's instincts told him something was amiss. "I kind of hung around for a minute, just to make sure, because it was strange, going under the water like that." His wife, equally uneasy, urged him to call the police. She feared the man was in danger, not just from drowning or passing boats, but from the lurking menace of the lake itself. Lawson's warning echoed through the night. "Man, we're just trying to help you. You're out here in the dark. You're either going to get hit by a boat or eaten by a gator." The man, however, seemed unbothered, even irritated. He hurled objects from the water at the concerned fisherman before defiantly continuing his swim. Authorities arrived on the scene shortly thereafter, offering blankets and clothes in a bid to coax the man from the water. Despite their efforts, he remained in the lake, ignoring their pleas. Hours later, their worst fears materialized. In the dead of night, the man encountered the apex predator of Florida's waters, an alligator. Alligators, which have roamed the earth for over 37 million years, are masters of stealth and ambush. Their leathery hides and cold reptilian eyes conceal a predatory cunning that has ensured their survival for millennia. Typically wary of humans, they rarely attack unless provoked or misidentify a person as prey. However, certain factors, like the time of day, human behaviors, or environmental changes, can tilt the scales in favor of an attack. Dusk and dawn are particularly dangerous times in Florida's waterways. Alligators, whose vision is finely attuned to low light, are most active during these hours. They hunt with precision, relying on a powerful sense of motion detection. The splashes and ripples of the man swimming in Lake Monroe likely mimic the movements of a struggling animal, an irresistible lure for the gator. Brandon Fisher, an expert from Florida's renowned Gatorland, explained the circumstances with chilling clarity. At that time of night, it's prime feeding and breeding season for alligators. They're hunting toward their prey items. Swimming in water at that hour is essentially inviting danger. The attack itself was swift, brutal, and relentless. In an instant, the man's cries pierced the night air, startling nearby residents. The alligator clamped down on his arm, its crushing bite force, measuring over 2,000 pounds per square inch, severing the limb at the elbow. Witnesses described the sound of the struggle as gut-wrenching, the thrashing of water, the man's desperate screams, and the primal growls of the predator. In a testament to human resilience, the victim somehow managed to pull himself free. Bloodied and disoriented, he staggered out of the water and collapsed on a nearby road. A couple of good Samaritans, drawn by his cries, rushed to his aid. They staunched the bleeding as best as they could before emergency services arrived, ultimately saving his life. The man was rushed to a hospital, where surgeons were forced to amputate what remained of his arm to prevent further complications. This harrowing incident serves as a stark reminder of the hidden perils that Florida's waterways harbor. With an estimated 1.3 million alligators spread across the state, no body of water can be considered completely safe. From lakes and ponds to brackish marshes and even saltwater estuaries, alligators are a constant presence, silently watching and waiting. Yet, as terrifying as the prospect of an alligator attack may be, such encounters are statistically rare. According to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, there were 243 reported alligator attacks between 2000 and 2021. Of these, only 18 resulted in fatalities. Lauren Clairboat, an FWC spokesperson, emphasized this rarity. Alligators are naturally very wary of people. They're not really looking to harm us in most cases. A lot of cases with alligator bites are a case of mistaken identity. But the odds don't always offer comfort, especially in areas like Lake Monroe, where human activity increasingly overlaps with alligator habitats. Rapid urbanization has pushed these creatures closer to populated areas, heightening the risk of conflict. With how many people there are and how many alligators there are, it's really surprising it doesn't happen more often, noted Frank Mazzotti, a professor of wildlife ecology at the University of Florida. Alligators are opportunistic feeders, and their hunting instincts are triggered by movement, splashing, and, in some cases, a misguided association of humans with food. The FWC warns that feeding alligators, even unintentionally, can have deadly consequences. When alligators lose their natural fear of humans, they begin to associate people with an easy meal, setting the stage for tragedies like the one at Lake Monroe. The haunting reality of this incident goes beyond the physical injuries sustained by the victim. It's a visceral reminder of the fragile balance between humans and the natural world. Florida's alligators are a symbol of the state's wild beauty, but they are also a potent reminder that nature is not always forgiving. For the man who lost his arm, the encounter was more than just a brush with danger. It was a collision with a force of nature, one that will leave scars, both visible and invisible. Surviving an alligator attack demands more than luck. It requires instinct, quick thinking, and a chilling understanding of a predator that has ruled these waters for millennia. Yet, in the dim hours before dawn, when Lake Monroe's murky surface became a battleground, it's clear that the homeless swimmer, in his vulnerable and exposed state, was woefully unprepared for the encounter that would leave him forever scarred. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission offers vital insights into avoiding and surviving encounters with these ancient reptiles, guidelines carved from years of studying the apex predators that silently stalk the edges of the Sunshine State's waterways. But what happens when the unthinkable does occur? When a reptile that can crush bone with a single bite turns its attention toward you? The FWC's advice here is grim but essential. Fight back. Alligators, unlike sharks, tend to release prey that resists, target their most sensitive areas, the eyes, the snout, and create as much chaos as possible. Noise and resistance disrupt their ambush strategy, sometimes convincing them that the struggle isn't worth it. This is not a battle of strength. It's a desperate attempt to make yourself less appealing as prey. The swimmer in Lake Monroe likely fought with every ounce of his strength, but the odds were stacked against him. Even if he knew to aim for the eyes or snout in the throes of such a violent attack, where survival hangs by a thread and terror clouds every thought, it's easier said than done. Yet his struggle bought him just enough time to escape, to claw his way to the shore, his arm a mangled remnant of the gator's jaws, but his life still his own. The guidelines are clear, the warnings explicit, but they come with a bitter irony. Their advice for a moment you pray never comes. Their lessons learned from lives lost or irrevocably changed. And in the dark waters of Lake Monroe, as the swimmer dragged himself from the predator's domain, those lessons became seared into his very flesh, a cautionary tale for anyone daring to underestimate the cold, calculating power of the wild. The man's encounter with the alligator highlights the delicate balance between human activity and wildlife conservation. For residents of Florida, coexisting with alligators is an unavoidable reality. Yet, as this story shows, even a momentary lapse in judgment can lead to devastating consequences. As the investigation into the Lake Monroe attack continues, the local community is left grappling with a mix of fear, curiosity, and a renewed respect for the untamed wilderness that surrounds them. Some wonder what drove the man into the water that fateful night, while others are reminded of the countless other creatures, equally hidden and equally dangerous, that inhabit Florida's landscapes. For the victim, the incident marks a life forever changed. His survival is nothing short of miraculous, but it comes at a steep price, a sobering reminder of the raw, unyielding power of nature. In the dark waters of Lake Monroe, the alligator's presence is a reminder that, in the battle between man and nature, the wild often has the upper hand. If this gripping encounter with nature's raw power left you on edge, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-chilling dives into the wild's untamed mysteries. Stay sharp, stay safe, and join us next time as we uncover another tale where the natural world reminds us who's truly in control.